כל השנה הלכות בכל יום מובטח לו שהוא בן העולם הבא. בעזרת השם, today we're back at learning the two mitzvot d'oraita, מצד דשמיא. We are holding on the 5th day of the month of Iyar. Happens to be also Monday, the 2nd day of the week of Parshat Shabbat Emor. Bezrat Hashem, the two mitzvot that shayach for today is the mitzvah number 411, where there is a prohibition listening to one witness or relying on one witness to exact a capital punishment. So I mean, right? Today they have better than one witness. There's a lot of discussion. What about video? Is it acceptable or not acceptable? We just tell you up front, it's not. No witness, no testimony. There's actually another prohibition in the Torah. Circumstantial evidence are not acceptable in the Torah. So over here now we have one witness, even though he's claiming to be mamash, he was there, he saw, and he has a video with him, still going to be prohibited because that's what the Torah tells us. In mitzvah number 412, Shelo lakach kofer le'atzil min mavet harotzeach. This is very famous in the countries, obviously, Baruch Hashem, not so openly in America. And there's a reason why I'm saying it. Not so openly in America, but there were countries where they had actually explicitly such a thing. You pay of your way out. There was, where was it? I believe in Morocco they had such a concept, where if a person is accused of murder and he is found to be guilty of murder, and he admits to the murder, he could bring, there was a time that he could bring 300 golden coins, and he could pay himself out, give money, and say, halas, bye-bye, everybody's fine. So today in this world, somebody will go up to Mr. Bill Gates, right? The Shoded Mr. Bill Gates for $1 billion, and tell and say, listen, I'll give you $100,000 in case of clothes. Chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. No money justifies. There is no way of. So that's the prohibition of 412. So Bezrat Hashem, before we start mitzvah number today mitzvot, we're going to dedicate it to the Nishmat, all the niftarim that have passed from this world, who have not left anybody to stay on daven on their behalf or learn on their behalf. Hashem should take our limud and to elevate their neshamot, Bezrat Hashem. And also we're going to ask mechila u'snacha v'chapara for all our sins, and ask Hashem and beg Hashem actually for mercy and refuah shlema on all the Jews who are harmed all over the world, and all those are captive in captivity in jails. Hashem should have mercy on them, release them all, and let them all be ma'aleh ma'ala b'dusha. And also, Bezrat Hashem, obviously the chayalim, people who are protecting the Jewish nation, goy, not a goy, doesn't matter, a Jew, anyone who protects the Jewish nation, Hashem should have special protection for them and send them home safely without any harm. Mitzvah number 411. שלא ידבר חייד בפני בית דין, בית דין אשר יעיד עליו בדיני נפשות זולתי, בהגדת עדותו לבד. אף על פי שהוא משכיל וחכם, שהעד אינו נעשה דיין בדיני נפשות. So over here, what happened was, there's a one witness, a person saw a crime. And it happened to be, he's the Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, alav hashalom. A big Talmid Chacham, you know, who's gonna argue with him? Who's gonna argue with him? The Torah knows that, because we know that we are very influenced people. We live by influence. Therefore, the Torah tells us there is a prohibition on Rabbi Ovadia Yosef to come to Beit Din and to make the person guilty. So that Beit Din, it's a prohibition on him, it's a different prohibition. But 411, for Beit Din to listen to Rabbi Ovadia Yosef on his own, testifying, I'm talking about Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, or a person of such a caliber, that where he will be influencing people. That's why one of the reasons that the Sanhedrin, the Gadol would be the last to vote. The person in charge would be the last to vote. This way, not to influence all the other people, because again, as we said, the Jewish people, as the humans, we're very much influenced by our surroundings. It says in Torah, Bamidbar, chapter 35, pasuk 30, Ve'ed echad lo ya'aneh b'nefesh lamut. The Torah tells us specifically, you cannot accept a testimony of one witness in capital punishments. Why specifically the rabbi is madgish this inyan of capital punishments in the Torah? Because in reality, in Dinei Mamanot, you will listen to one witness, well, at least you will be mechayev, a person swear in order to say I didn't. You know, so just like it can, but the nefashot, which is when there is a capital punishment, when it involves that, Chas v'Shalom Torah right out loud tells us no. The Katav Rambam Zal, it says over there Mitzvah number by Rambam in mitzvah number 291. ונכבל עליו בזה העניין, שנאמר, it says double, it's repeated language in the Torah again, in chapter 17 in דברים, פסוק ו', לא יומת על פי עד אחד. The Torah tells us specifically, you cannot condemn a person to death with one witness. כלומר, לא ייהרג במשפט העד, you're not allowed to commit a capital punishment on one person's testimony. ואמרו בסנהדרין, it says over there in chapter 30, page 33, second side in Masechet Sanhedrin, ועד לא יענה בנפש. Tells us, what does that mean? In the Torah that tells us, עד, one witness, cannot do any harm to a soul. בין לזכות, בין לחובה. Over there, it's either to clear him from the charge, or even chas v'shalom to deepen the charge. ובהרו שטען זהו משום דמחזק כנוגע בעדותו. Over there, like it seems like that also over here he's going to go into a different route. He's taking a route where the dayanim or the witnesses is behaving like a dayan, like he's talking in a concept like this is a fact. Don't argue with me. ובדיני נפשות בלבד הוא עניין זה שאינו יכול לענות בו בין לזכות בין לחובה. כמו שאמרנו, obviously this is only in reference to capital punishment. משורשי המצווה, the root of this mitzvah, the chinuch tells us, מה שכתבו במצווה הקודמת לזו, as we explained already in mitzvah number 409. What was the reasoning we said yesterday? Yeah, I davened late yesterday. So it's my fault. Huh? But yesterday the shiur we had about 36 minutes with the guys. Now he said, so the reasoning over there was, so it's the same thing, a simple thing. He says, because it's so simple, it doesn't even register in your mind. He said yesterday, the capital, anything that has to do with the dinei nefashot, it is so intricate. There's so many intricate. We're so much involved, and the preoccupation of a Jewish Beit Din is totally opposite than the Goyish Beit Din. Because by Goyim, what's the? If somebody asks you what is the difference between a Goy and a Jew, very simple. A Jew needs 1 billion. A Goy needs one. If you have 1 billion reasons, he's not guilty, and Goy finds one reason to guilty, they'll find him guilty. We're talking about privately. Maybe the courts they're playing little games, but in reality they're all corrupted. But in reality, that's the Goy's mentality. The Goy's mentality is if they're justified, 1 in a billion reasons to kill, they'll kill. That's the reason of a Goy. That's the reason you go. Horaya, we saw that with this whole you have the shot, you don't have a shot. This was a whole famous thing that the people who didn't have shots, they're waiting for years to get a kidney transplant. The hospitals denied a kidney transplant. Why? Because you don't have a shot. But there is billions reasons to do, and the justification is the person that was in line and the person, waited and paid, and there's everything, insurance covered. There's so many expenses for this person to get a kidney transplant. But now you found the reason because he didn't take a shot. Halas, we're gonna not give you a kidney shot, kidney transplant. This is a goy. That's the way God thinks. By Jews, it's totally opposite. By Jew, you have 1 billion reasons to kill. We have 1 billion reasons. He's guilty, 100% guilty. No questions asked. Beit Din Agadol, Rav Ovadia Yosef with Rabbi Eliashiv, the witnesses. Nobody could argue with them. They're both witnesses. Tzadikim, Taurim, they're not lying. So what happened? We find one minute reason to disqualify. The halacha is we disqualify. And that's what have done it. Why? Because that's the way Jewish people are. We must judge everybody favorably, no matter what. And over here, we said yesterday that in this case, if we allow the witnesses to listen to that one witness, he will not have a favoritism, because that's what he saw. A person who sees something, it's already engraved in him. There's no way to justify, to find favoritism, because he will only justify the evil act or the enactment of the punishment. Now, how do you define? How do you elaborate on this mitzvah? So the rabbi says like this: "She'et she'id bedinei nefashot, v'amar haken yesh li lamed alav zchut mishatkin oto. She'en mikablim mimenu leorot alav shum davar achar shehu ed la alav." So if that's what happened was a person made a testimony, and the Beis Din accepted his testimony for punishment. Now he comes later and says, you know what? I want to melamed zechut. I want to melamed zechut. We don't listen to him. Why not? What's the problem? What's the problem? What are we talking about? B'dinei nefashot, specifically in reference to the soul or to capital. In reference to money, there is the witness could flip flop. So what happened was, now he wants to take he's the smartest man. Who's going to argue with him? It says even in the name of Mamonot, Rabbi Yosef would not be allowed to become now the Dayan, because everybody heard his testimony, how knowledgeable he is. They're going to be maybe afraid. They're going to back down a little bit of the Dayanim. With the Torah restricts him to enact in any way. But obviously, we could understand, and when it comes to capital punishment, if the witness was there to testify why he's chayav, why can he go back and change his mind? Very simple. The svara, the misvara, we could say that we're afraid that once his testimony was accepted to find guilty, to accept the guilt of punishment, we're afraid now that he says, no, I still want to be melamed zechut. I want to come and give a merit for this person. Maybe within that merit, he will push off the merit. We're afraid, right? Because he's talking. He is talking. He is the person who saw the crime. So he's going to tell you the merit. He will dilute the merit in such a way that when the next person comes and gives that merit, you will not be mekabel. You will not be, because he's already invested in the other element. Even though by mamanot, in monetary issues, we have no problem with that. But because it's a capital and so much intricacies over there, if you have to leave, you could leave. I just make a recording for people who are, Baruch Hashem, learning on YouTube. ובאמת דברים אמוריים, בדבר שצריך עדים מן התורה. אבל בשל דבריהם עד נעשה דיין. So this is talking about all we talked just now, it's from the Torah. But in any aspects where there is a discussion from the Rabbanan, in any case, וזה כן נעשה דיין מקיום שטרות. דקאיים עלן קיום שטרות דרבנן. So this whole concept the Rabbi says, in reference to when there are contracts involved, the witness can actually jump around. Why? Because over there it's the Rabbanan. דמדאורייתא עדים החתומים על השטר נעשה כמי שנחקרה עדותן בבית דין. So that but מדאורייתא, however, the chatimot of the edim, it's like they are fully testimony. Meaning you don't have to say anything. The contract is yes, even though the concept of the shtarot is the Rabbanan, but the fact that the edim signed on it, it's like they're actually talking. It's not in itself, but in reality, but to dissolve, to discuss the contract. You know, the contract, so people call me for advice. I tell everybody, don't sign a contract when it's a rental contract, 40 pages. 1 page. If you're a landlord, I tell people, 1 page. If you're a tenant, I tell people, take 40 pages, take 100 pages. Because the landlord is an idiot. Right? He thinks he's a smart guy. He's going to put 100 pages or 40 pages, whatever normal common contracts today. The person who's making this contract is a lawyer, obviously. For him, a litigation is the best thing. 40 pages is litigation, 100%. 1 page, rachal bitachtana. Yes, no, bye-bye. So I tell everybody, 1 page. Halas, take my advice, Baruch Hashem, many people win. Because it's all clear, there's no chokhmot over here. In a 40 page, there's so much like this, intricacies, and you could always play the courts. They love it. They love it. But Baruch Hashem, we're Jews. Anybody asks me, I always make my lease, my max lease is maybe 2 pages. Not because I needed 2 pages, because I couldn't put everything in 1 page. Maybe the second page has to go online on it. That was like, anyway. Everything else is within Sanhedrin. נוהגת מצווה זו. בזכרים לבד, obviously the mitzvah of Bedin judgments for the males. ובזמן הבית בסנהדרין, command. And it's obviously the time of the Beit HaMikdash, where the Sanhedrin was in their place. כי אז נדין דיני נפשות, because only then we had the right to deal with capital punishments. ולא בזמן אחר, and there is no other time, ואז נצטרך לעדות אנשים, זה ועת שהעיד ועבר על זה בדין, בית לזכות, בין לזכות בלן חובה, עבר עליו זה, אבל אינו לוקח עליו לפי שאין בו מעשה. However, a witness who were interchanged, First time he was a witness, then he became a Jayan. In that case, he broke this halacha, mitzvah number 411. However, there is no punishment for it, there is no lashes, because this avera could be done only without a maaseh as well. והרמב"ן ז"ל פירש, זה הכתוב שלא ימות על פי עד אחד. The Ramban explains, what does that mean? That you should not kill a person on one testimony. He counts it as a different עבירה, והוא שלא לקבל עדות מיוחדת בדיני נפשות. Over there he explains that the Beit Din has a prohibition accepting one singular person's testimony. וזהו כגון שיהיה העדים רואים אותו אחד מחלון זה ואחד מחלון אחר, רחוק מן הראשון, עד כדי שאין העומדים בחלון יכולים לראות זה את זה, אבל כולנו רואים בבעל העבירה. נתבהר זה בפרק כיצד העדים. אז בודק, it says with them מסכת מכות, where two witnesses, one saw from one window, one saw from another window, and they do not see each other. In that case, the Beit Din will be prohibited to listening. Even now you have two testimonies, two witnesses that speaking about the same crime. However, since the witnesses didn't see each other, their testimony will be prohibited to be listened to. And page 411, Halakha 411, Mitzvoth Oraita, prohibition of 411, because there are not one testimony. That's the way Ramban learns this mitzvah. Mitzvah number 412, Bezat Hashem, שלא לקח כופר להציל ממוות הרוצח. We have a prohibition in the Torah that tells us we are prohibited to take payment for a crime of a person, of a murder, as a payment for buying himself out, buying himself away from a punishment of a capital punishment. It says in the Torah like this: "Shalonikach kofir klomar pidyon." We are prohibited to take a kofir, which is a redemption money. Va'afilu kol mamon shebaolam, and are allowed to even say the guy offers all the world money. Le'atzil nefesh harotzeach, shelo, to save a person who has murdered, shelo le'argo, in order to prevent him from being killed. Why? It says in the Torah like this: Bamidbar, chapter 35, pasuk 31. V'lo tichu kofir al nefesh harotzeach asher hu rasha lamut. We're prohibited to take a kofir, to take a redemption money of a murderer, because he is the Rasha who is designated to be killed already, and that's it. Shoresh mitzvah zo yadua. Everybody knows why it's prohibited from the Torah. She'im dirshu adonai haaretz lekach kofir b'yad harotzeach. If the powerful powers that be will say, let's take money from a murderer, נמצא שכל הגדול מחברו והעשיר ממנו יארגנו אם יחרה אפו עליו וייתן כפרו, נמצא חרב איש באחיו וישוב בטף. What happened was, the more wealthier will be angered by a poorer person, so he will go and kill each other, and this way, and they will just pay off their dues, and this way will happen. Everybody will be killing each other, and there will be no settlement. Medinah mitzvah. Now, what is exactly we're talking about? How to fulfill this mitzvah? מה שאמרו זכרונו לברכה is that said it's notice שאפילו רצה גואל אדם לפוטרו. Even though the next of kin will come to the Beit Din and say, you know what's worth for us to kill him? Give us the money. We will sustain his orphans. We will sustain his widow. ואמר הדיין שהוא מוחל על אדמו שיקחו ממנו כופר אם ירצו. And he'll say, you know what, there could be a benefit. We could build with this guy $1 billion donation. We could build a synagogue. חס ושלום. עדן רשעים לקח הכופר לפוטרו בכל ממון שבעולם. With all the money in the world, there's a prohibition on the Beit Din to take any money to redeem this person as a redemption money, to pay off for his debt, for his commitment of crime. Ela yumat kemitzvat ha'el aleinu. Rather, he should be killed as the Torah Hashem commanded us. V'yed pratem v'masechet makot, and all the details are there discussed in Masechet Makot. V'noeged bezman habayit. This mitzvah, the provision of Beit Din to accept the redemption money, is in the time for all in the time of the Mikdash, obviously, when we had the power of the Zacharim and the Kivot, when males of females. ועכשיו בזמן הזה אין לנו עסק בדיני נפשות. Today we don't have any element of judging the punishment, capital punishment. ואמרי בכאן שנוהג איסור זה בדיני כיבוד, מה אף על פי שהן אינן דנות, העניין הוא שאם אולי בזמן ההוא מחמת מלכות או סיבה אחרת יבוא ביד אישה עניין שישאלו ממנה להציל נפש הרוצח בשביל ממון. So even though we mentioned the woman here, because the rabbi says over here there will be a case, as Shalom, there will be a time where a woman will have the influence or will have the power to decide. They will ask her, and she muzhered mishum lav zeh shelo likach mamon v'yatzilenu. So let's say we're talking about specifically living in I think it was in Morocco, in Spain, where they had 300 golden coins you pay for the murder. So let's say they would approach a member of the family and say, would you take the 300 golden coins, whatever it was. There will be a prohibition even on a woman to accept. And somebody came and accepted the bribery in order to save the murderer. So anybody who has this power, even today, amongst the goyim, seems like they would transgress this sin by accepting the money as a bribery to save the murderer from being murdered. For this is a horrible reasoning, and that will cause a lot of death in the Jewish nation specifically as well. So B'ezrat Hashem should protect all the Jewish nation. Anybody here who needs to make parnasa, lechu to panasu, shema benachal and b'simcha. Have a wonderful day.